This segment is sponsored by Hilltop Wealth Solutions.
Erik Brenner from Hilltop Wealth Solutions is a certified financial advisor with nearly 30 years of experience.
He's back this week with the keys to financial success when planning for retirement. Take a look. So Erik, what are some of the most important factors to work on if you're successfully planning for retirement? Let's see, paying down debt, making sure estate plan, your will is in order, using the right investment strategies. Where do you go? What do you do?
Yeah, all of those things, really. Making sure that your debt is in order is really important. Making sure that you're going to have enough money, taking into account healthcare and so forth. The will is interesting. We suggest updating your will every 5 years or so, making sure it's updated, and then certainly making sure you got the right investment mix. You don't need a market downturn to really affect your overall retirement.
I think my grandmother changes her will every time someone makes her mad.
Yeah.
So, interest rates are low. I mean, it's that environment is, talked about in the media all the time. So what do you suggest to people that are currently in the process of paying off, your home?
Yeah, so they are certainly low. So, someone that's looking for a home, and right now, on the market, it's hard to, it's not a buyer's market, it's a seller's market. So, what we recommend is debt into retirement is a good thing. Although we have a lot of people that carry a mortgage into retirement, and as long as it doesn't strap them financially, it may be okay. But I would not just take low interest rates to say carry debt. It really depends on the situation, but they're going to be low for a while, and these mortgage rates just continue to surprise us. So really, the least amount of debt you can in retirement is the best.
So, when you think about estate plans, a lot of people think, oh, that's for rich people or for fancy people or people with a lot of resources. So what exactly goes into an estate plan?
Yeah, so an estate plan, when we say that, it's really more than a will. It's a durable power of attorney. It's a power of attorney for healthcare. It's a living will. And it's not just for people who love resources. It really, an estate plan will spell out who takes care of your finances in case you cannot. Especially in COVID and everything that's happened, there's been folks, unfortunately, that have not been able to take care of their finances for a period of time. What are your healthcare decisions? If you have young children, who would take care of your children, both taking care of them and financially look out for them? If you don't have those documents in place, then the judge or the court decides. So it's really important to have an estate plan, no matter what your financial wealth is.
So, COVID kind of threw us into a tailspin on all fronts. And our financial health and our wealth strategies is certainly among them. So how would you suggest that people kind of attack their investment strategies to maintain their wealth strategy and their overall wealth health?
Yeah, so what I would suggest is don't get too comfortable. So, people that buy investments and do investing on their own, it's easy to say, I'm a good investor and I pick the right investments when things are going up. It's more difficult to say when things are going down, what are the changes that you do? And so you don't want to just rely on status quo. There needs to be adjustments along the way. And right now, it looks like all economic indicators to us say a pretty strong economy over the next couple of years. But let's not get comfortable with that. Let's just make sure that they're in the right investments for their risk tolerance.
It's interesting. People get very emotional, obviously, and stressed out about their economic health. It's like going to the horse races and betting on the horse that you like the name of the most or something. And so really taking the emotional strain out of the investment strategies is key, but really hard. What do you tell people about that?
Yeah, it is really hard, Craig. I mean, to bring in emotion into this in the investment world, there were a lot of folks that made decisions back when COVID hit last March to get out of the market, to cash out, surveys have said upwards of 15%. And unfortunately, that's money they'll never get back. So what you need to understand with a risk tolerance and a discussion with a good professional, you'll know what your range is. How much potentially will you lose, or how much will you gain? And you need to be comfortable with that range. And then we make adjustments along the way.
So, you know, that's interesting, your risk tolerance. So are there some products that have like little to no risk versus great risk? And then how do you balance the reward to that? You know what I'm...
Yeah. So there are. So the lower the potential return, the lower the risk. So a bank account, money market account, have no low risk. They still have a risk of outpacing taxes and inflation and an interest rate risk, but they don't have a market risk. But they're not earning much right now. So the higher the risk, the higher the potential return. So the balance there is understanding what your personal risk tolerance is and really investing based on that.
So, okay, so I'm getting older and I'm thinking about making an investment plan for my estate plan, my retirement plan. But then I live 20 years longer than I thought I would because life expectancy is just getting longer and longer. What do you do to kind of combat that or help that or safeguard that?
Yeah, so it's a great question. And we've talked about this before on the show. The fact is people are living longer. And, we're seeing more people living into their upper 80s and 90s and still living, and potentially traveling and being active. And so what you really need to do is you need to just look at your financial situation and plan to see how much are you going to have enough money throughout the years. And, you want your money to outlast you, so that you have that good retirement and, you're not worried about that going forward. So that's how we cope with that, is taking a look at what you have and making sure that we're using a life expectancy that's out there and reasonable.
Well, they say the good die young. I have missed that opportunity. But it's always great. Erik, you always have great information for our friends at home, and we just love having you on the show. So thanks for being with us this morning.
Yeah, you're welcome, Craig. I appreciate that. And I want to offer up a risk assessment.
Oh,
we have this risk assessment. We have it's complimentary. The first 10 callers, and really you'd spend hundreds of dollars getting a risk assessment. We have a very strategic tool, several tools, comprehensive tools that will take a look at all of your assets. It will determine what your risk is, what you're paying, and just give you a good sense and good direction. Are you in the right investments?
I do love that you always bring a gift when you come to Hometown Living. Love that.
Thank you, Craig.
Give them a call at 574-212-0446. They're looking for the first 10 callers. Visit them on hilltopwealthsolutions.com. And we'll be right back with more Hometown Living.